banking is there for ages. They are operating with this name of bank or even before that in different names. So the human need for this activity is there because once, once they live in societies, they need to transact with each other. And when they do commercial transactions, whether for personal needs or business needs, they need some medium to execute those. As time progresses, the medium exchange shapes and changes forms. So it became paper currency. People have their own opinions about it. Now it is moving from paper to digital. So I think this is a big evolution, and the entire industry and the entire world has to adopt it. This trend is actually banking on certain other trends which have emerged for some time, which is the evolution of mobile banking platforms or mobile banking, I would say, ecosystem. The entire ability to do any type of transaction has coming into the hand of the consumer only in the form of a single device, which is mobile phone. So this is very important emerging trend. So right now banks have mobile app, but now there are banks in the world which are only mobile apps. So now the conventional, when I say conventional, I would say the traditional banks have to think about that, how they have to replicate themselves and keeping their physical identity separately from their digital identity. The third one is on the same side is the implications which artificial intelligence is bringing in. Now these tools are very powerful. And if you see during last couple of years, these tools have acquired the ability to behave or simulate human beings. Now they can do a lot more things which need human intelligence. The world has faced multiple revolutions in last 200 years. Electricity was a revolution. When electricity was invented, if you even today plug out the electricity, everything around us, including you and me talking in this camera's recording, they will go down. And now, I think the next biggest thing for the world is artificial intelligence. And it is growing in all dimensions. There are so many different forms of artificial intelligence. So adapting or adopting these technologies into the financial services is another very big trend. After a very long time, in 19th century and post Second World War, we had industrial revolution. That point in time, every country, every nation was investing into production techniques, which may be electrical, mechanical, biological, and the entire focus was to enhance productivity. And they were exploring, and I would even use the word exploiting natural resources and the nature. And a result of that, during only 150 years, the world temperature have risen. And earlier, the world temperature was almost stagnant and it started to rise. And it started to rise because of these greenhouse gas emissions, which are causing temperature rising in the world. So now there is definitely a focus of the human race and mankind on this aspect, that we have to ensure sustainability of our resources. We have to ensure sustainability of the entire climate, environment, natural resources, and the human life on this planet. So I think this is our next big thing, which is environmental, social governance thing. So this is a big trend. And the last one, fifth one, is Islamic financing. It gives you a platform which is neutral to both. So somebody who believes on a Sharia principle and somebody who does not believe, it gives a solution to both. Plus, we have seen that because of its grounding into an asset-backed mindset or asset-based mindset, it is less riskier than lot of, I would say, exotic financial products. So though it meets pretty much all the needs of the mankind, but it also ensures by its own design sustainability and stability of the entire financial ecosystem. It is a tool through which we can do collateral less financing. When I say collateral, by collateral, I mean the tangible collateral, the properties, the plant and machinery, and all that. The collateral less financing to the SME sector, which for any economy in the world, and specifically for any economy which has grown at a fast rate, has been very, very important, including China. When China was growing, it was very, very important. When Singapore was growing, it was very important. So for Pakistan, which is a developing country, it is a very important segment. And if you look at the, I would say 40% of the GDP still comes from SME sector. So if you have to meet their financing need, you have to make them more efficient in delivering services and products, and to finance the inventory life cycles or the cash flow or the working capital life cycles of producing, delivering, and collecting the receivables for these goods and services. Islamic digital supply chain finance is the centerpiece. And it cannot be done unless we do few things right, which is access to finance, financial literacy, collaboration with stakeholders, Sharia compliance, and then your financial technology and digital platforms and supply chain finance. All of these, when they work in sync, they will create a high operational efficiency for financing to be delivered to SMEs. So it will lead to growth in SME financing. I think so. Things need not to be looked in isolation. They have to be looked in entire ecosystem. And now the need for banks is firstly to be very, very open to collaborate. Anchor corporates with fintechs who are specializing in supply chain specifically. Like one is Hubble and there are few more where they're Fori, Cash Now. So collaborating with them. And as a result of that, the access to finance will improve for these SMEs and the overall SME financing availability will increase. So if banks are able to create structures which are integrated with an anchor corporate, with SMEs on a digital platform, and these SMEs have some financial literacy and Sharia compliance, the next step for me and for my colleagues and for the industry is to come up with a framework on the basis of which each bank can develop its procedures. So it should be like an stencil which can be given, and then everybody adapt that stencil and put it into place. And I think the access to finance for SME will increase like anything. If the traditional methodologies of using human workforce, going to SMEs and doing marketing was scalable, it would have scaled by now. We had an SME bank also in Pakistan, right? But it didn't scale. So it means something was missing. And what was missing was supply chain finance and digital finance. And you marry the two, it becomes digital supply chain finance. And when you add Sharia compliance into it, it becomes Islamic digital finance. And then it's a perfect recipe for achieving this objective of growing SME financing in Pakistan. At this point in time, despite having over 50% of our population being female, the labor force participation is roughly estimated to be 17-18%, which is very, very low. And I believe that for any country where 50% of the population is somehow excluded from making an economic contribution due to errors in our overall system, it's very hard to grow that economy. So it's extremely important that we engage them. And banks have a certain role to play, which they can play as a bank. Then bank has a role to play as a corporate entity also, which is the CSR program. Pakistan has a young population. Japan, most of the European countries have an average age of roughly 49, 48, or even 50 years. we have a median age of roughly 30 years. So, which is a very big edge for us. And this edge will not remain always with us because our population will also age. So, this is a time to create workforce which can be employed globally and which is skilled. So, I think women empowerment is can be achieved not just by giving them access to bank accounts, access to financing, but also enabling them to become employable, skilled worker and business. Pakistan is a large country in terms of population. Roughly 5% of the world population live in Pakistan. The CO2 contribution of Pakistan in emissions is 0.5%. So 5% of the world population is contributing 0.5% of the greenhouse gases emissions. So it means for the remaining 4.5%, somebody else is emitting carbon. The next interesting fact is, according to Global Climate Risk Index, Pakistan is one of the worst impacted country in the world. So what we have to do, we have to build climate resilient infrastructure, climate resilient farming, climate resilient housing, climate resilient industries, climate resilient bridges, climate resilient roads. So this is what we have to do.